European. I got US because, well, I live here. They are a little bit different. I mean, base game, they're the same, but obviously you play Truck Sim almost for the grand vista, the whole, driving through France and seeing places that look like they're from France. It's, with Farming Simulator, I like, I'm a big fan of Black Sheep modding. Black Sheep modding do some incredible rural France style maps. Now, he doesn't generally do real places, but his maps, if you've ever driven in France, it's like, this so much evokes the reality that is driving through rural France off the beaten track. Oxygen David is another good one. His maps just scream England at you. Bullet Bill used to be the same. He doesn't produce as many maps. Not sure. The last map I played of his was Farm Sim 17. I think he did a Farm Sim 19 map, but he released it privately. So, but they are good map makers. They make you feel like you're in a place. Now, the other one's this map. It's based on a place in Alma, Missouri. Now, obviously, even Oxygen David admits it. I've got to add locations for the BGA, for sell points for a farm store, because they don't actually exist on the area of England I have modelled. But it's enough to evoke the idea of, look, I'm in America, look, wild rolling plains of Missouri. It helps you feel like you're in a real place, and I think with the truck sims from SCS, they do that. They evoke where you're at, and even differences between driving through California, Arizona, and Washington State. You've got the woods, you've got the deserts, you've got the hilly places in the middle of California. It's if you've been to those places, you can look at it and say, you know what, this is awesome. And SCS are now, latest thing I've heard, I believe they are now adding the ability to drive cars. It's a truck sim. No, we're going to let you buy cars and then you can explore the map, because apparently a lot of people just like driving around exploring the map. And the trucking is just something they do so they can explore the map, which is kind of funny. And SCS has always had generic traffic on the road, much like Farming Simulator. There's cars, there's trucks. You could look at a car and say, yeah, that's a Chevy, or that's a Prius. But it doesn't have any badges to claim it is. It's just send your 5-year-old kid out, draw a car, and we'll model it and put it in the game. It's a car, it's a truck, it's a pickup, whatever. And that's what SCS have done in Truck Sim. Well, since they decided, look, people just like exploring the maps, why don't we give them the opportunity to drive cars? I think their initial plan was, what we'll do is we'll introduce generic cars, so a car, a pickup truck, whatever. Oh, okay, take no problem. Have fun today. Sure, well, I'm same time, same place every week. And American holidays. Have a good weekend. So, yes, so to continue my thought, apparently SCS turned around and said, yeah, we'll just add generic cars in so people can drive around the map. And then car manufacturers got wind of it. And SCS have a very good relationship with the trucks that they produce. So much so that rather than waiting for Renault to bring out their new truck and then having to spend 6 months modelling it after it's been released in the real world and then having to get it approved by Renault before they can put it in the game or release it in the game, they're now getting to the point where Renault's coming to them and saying, we've got a new model coming out next year and here's what it's going to look like, and how about you get your artist guys on designing it so that we can all release it at the same time. And the car manufacturers have obviously heard this, good relationship that everybody has, and it's like, oh, they want to introduce cars in the game. Well, I want my car in the game so that people can drive that, and it's free advertising for me. So apparently we're going to get real-world trucks and cars into the truck sims, which could be fun. They're also doing coaches for Euro Truck. I don't know. I haven't heard plans of that happening for American Truck Sim. It's kind of difficult because American Truck Sim, Greyhound buses, and that's pretty much it for, interstate passenger travel. Are all my tractors still going? Yes, they are. Oh, I'm down to 800 litres of liquid fertiliser. So we've got a little way to go yet. And as soon as I've done this field, I'm going to go up to the one just south of the BGA that's already been, what's the word for it? The stuff that you do with the weeder. Pulled up the weeds. We pulled up the weeds in that field, so I should be able to, this bit's a little bit too wide for the booms. So just going to drive around in circles for a little bit. Okay, so this field gets narrower as we go north, and so I should be able to do the rest if I am very, very precise on positioning of the tractor and the sprayer. That looks great. Okay, obviously this is why you use GPS, because it's a lot easier to do this with GPS than it is by eyesight. I do like the shadow of the clouds passing over the fields. So anyway, yes. How are we doing? It is 9:30 real time. So we've been streaming for, we've been streaming for an hour. So I did start at 8:35. That's good. Make sure we're moving on at three times speed. It's March 1. So, we've got a tractor that stopped. Case IH Puma, that's the one on the grass field, so it looks like our weeder needs to move along to the next field. We are almost at the end of this field, so that is what I will do. As soon as we're at the end of this field, we can turn this off, fold it all up, and go for a drive. I'm at the wrong end of the field for the road. That's unfortunate. Cameo, good morning and welcome to another Saturday. how's things going with you? And we are done. Turn that off. Shift and fold. And let's go find a tractor. You're doing tedding. You're nearly done too. Well, you are done. Engine. Fold. This week has been kind of okay. First full week back at work, so yeah, the usual fun and games. We had a couple of people saying, "Oh, my data has all been deleted. I don't know how that happened." We had two occurrences of that. One of them ended up at my the IT director's desk. And he was not impressed because they get a report that tells them when their data's about to be archived because it expires in 60 days' time. And they're supposed to take note of it's expiring in 60 days. You need to get something done. And then they don't. And then Christmas rolls around and New Year rolls around. And their data hits the expiration date and gets removed. And then they say, I don't know how it happened because you weren't doing your job. And that's effectively what my IT manager or IT director told them, is you get these reports, you're supposed to act on the reports when you get them. You're not acting the reports on when you get them. And so it is entirely your fault that the data's all gone. Oh dear. But it's still then my job to fix, to go off to the archives and recover their deleted data. Which is annoying as all get out. But it is what it is. But obviously, because it was Christmas, New Year's, more people don't do their jobs over that period, whether they're, and the problem is you expire something on the last week of December, and nobody's thinking about it on the run up to Christmas, and then they take a week off between Christmas and New Year's, and they come back and, oh, it's all gone. Yeah, and I mean, we had one this week. Oh, actually, we had one from November. Somebody did something they weren't supposed to do. They're not trained to do it. They just found a back door in the programming, so they did it. And it screwed up a customer order, such that they couldn't invoice it. So they then came back and opened a ticket to IT and said, oh, this is bad. It gets sent to some business specialists who have more investigatory powers, who looked and said, oh yes, we can see what the problem is. This data element needs to be fixed on this order. So it's like, okay, fine, I can fix that. So I fixed it, closed the ticket, and said, okay, that's fixed. That was in November. January. Oh, we can't invoice this order. Something else, open quotes, something else, close quotes, is still wrong with it. And we need you to fix that. Okay, send it off to the business unit that does the investigation. Okay, what do I need to fix now? And so it's sort of, oh, well, this is wrong. Okay, I can fix that. So I fixed that, and it still wouldn't invoice. Okay, you need to fix this other element. Now we're at the point where this is not a job that IT does. We do not update a single field in a single file. oh, you need to update the status to shipped. It's like, yes, but the shipping program updates a dozen files, fields everywhere, and you're updating me to, you're just telling me to change the date, the shipped status. That's not going to do all the other things that process does. Well, let's just start updating that thing. Okay, so I update that field. Oh no, it's still not working. It's like, no shit, I told you it wouldn't. What do I want to do? I need to turn that on. So, oh, well, we've identified this other thing that needs to be fixed. Okay. And by the time I get to, I have now updated 3 fields and it's still not working. The recommendation comes back to, you need to cancel this and re-enter a customer billing only order so that you can bill it off. And the reason they don't want to do that is because the system will write them up. Oh, you deleted an order and then raised a new one. We need to write you up because obviously you need to be reminded about how you're supposed to do your job, not, work around the system to do the things that you're not supposed to be doing. Oh, I'm scraping along the edge of the wall here. But that was, you did something in November, you screwed up your order, and now you want IT to fix it so you don't get into trouble, or you don't get written up for it. It's like, no, that's not what we're supposed to do. So we suggest, you are going to need to delete this. So actually delete the order from the system, which doesn't delete it, it just sets everything to a deleted state. So we can still see what they did. But, really. You have to do it properly. And don't do workarounds, because you just break things. I was one company I worked for. It was an American company, but it was contracted to do loan servicing in the UK with the Woolwich, I believe. And there was something wrong with some data. And so something was corrupting the data. So IT had a look at it, and they must have spent about 3 days looking at the data, looking at the logs, trying to figure out what process was corrupting it. And they found the process. And so it was then, okay, now we need to clean up the data, and we need to fix the program that's corrupting the data. Logical thing, do not play with this option because it's breaking things. And they sent out a global message to everybody in the company to say, do not use option XYZ. It doesn't work. 20 seconds later, there's an email response. So replied to everybody in the company. I just tried it and it worked for me. You have just corrupted all the data again. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, their menu system didn't allow you to turn options off. When I started in IT, way back in the 1990s, oh, that's so long ago, we had a menu system, but it wasn't. It was owned by somebody else, and so it was very difficult to add new things to it. And our company decided we need our own menu system that we can maintain all the data elements of. So we can add things to it, we can take things off it. And we went through all of the best practices of the menu system that we were using and decided on some new ones. And one of the new options we had was disable a menu option temporarily. So if you did find that this option does not work, it's corrupting data, you could just go in, flick a switch on that option and temporarily turn it off. And it would basically tell anybody trying to use it, this option's not available at the moment. Unfortunately, most menu systems don't include anything like that. So your choices are, you delete the option, in which case you then have to re-add it and hope you got everything right when you add it back in again. Or, I don't know, but... But yeah, you tell people not to do things, or you tell people what they're supposed to do, and people will ignore it. The programmers who were retiring when I started at my current employer, they had this theory that, well, you didn't have to program for all of the potential problems. You know, you didn't have to validate data because people were trained what they were supposed to do, and nobody would be stupid enough to do the things they're not supposed to do. Oh, yes, they will. And most of our problems have been people doing things that nobody's going to be dumb enough to do that. Sure, not. Give me a week. Someone will have been dumb enough to do that. But even, what is it, almost 20 years later, we're still fighting programs that were written with that concept in mind. I have been fairly lucky up to now. Back when I went to school, obviously I learned BASIC at school. I taught myself 6502 machine language and could program some basic stuff in that, but given 64K of memory of the PCs at the time, you couldn't really do much with it. I learned lots of versions of BASIC. I learned Pascal at school. Then I did a couple of college courses. One was in Fortran and one was in COBOL. And I have never used any of those programming languages in the real world. But my first job was with a retailer, their warehousing system. And they were looking for logical people who had retail experience. So they weren't looking for computer programmers. I think one of the guys had learnt a computer language at college. And, for the first year, as we were writing programs, he was just sort of, his common mantra was, oh, you don't do it like that in COBOL. It's like, no, this isn't COBOL. The language I use is called RPG. And at the time I started using it, it was quite literally a report program generator. You would read file data and put it on a piece of paper, and that's what the language was designed as. In the last 40 years, it has moved on from there, and it's now a full-fledged, I would suggest, COBOL-like language. And it's the only language I've used in the wilds. And it's only used on IBM, what do they call it, iSeries systems. Now, people are moving away from writing code in RPG because most, anything that the IBM I does is green screen, 24 by 80 character green screen. So obviously people these days want, I want the full color GUI with drop down menus and push buttons and